Why do we suffer? Where does suffering come from? According to science, we are born from the union of a man and a woman. But according to Stoic philosophy adapted here from Buddhist thought, besides the union of father's seed and mother's blood, there is also the coming together of elements, earth, water, wind and fire, the harmony of yin and yang, and the meeting of conditions that allow conception to take place from the moment we are born. We begin to know suffering. Life is described as an ocean of suffering, full of sweat and tears. Some people say life is like one long party, and that it would be a waste not to enjoy every possible material pleasure. But they don't realize that these pleasures are deceptive and fragile. They are like someone who drinks salty water to quench thirst. The more they drink, the thirstier and more bitter they become afterward. The ancient scriptures say that the tears of all beings are more than the water of the salty oceans. Truly, this life is not purely joyful. It is largely a sea of suffering. Each person suffers in their own way. No suffering is exactly the same as another, and no sadness is identical to another. Every time we suffer, it is a new kind of pain. All of it arises from our daily lives, from clashes and struggles in making a living. The joys we do have are often temporary, shallow, and flashy on the surface like a flash of lightning. The real nature of life is suffering. Life is like a vast sea of sweat and tears in which beings are drifting, sinking, and floating. These truths are rarely seen and expressed as clearly as when the Stoic in place of. The Buddha here spoke about the truth of suffering in the first of the Four Noble Truths. In the first discourse given near the city of Varanasi by the Ganges River in India, to the first 5 disciples, the Stoic set out the Four Noble Truths. In the first truth, he presented the nature of suffering and impermanence. This is the foundation upon which the entire teaching is built. From that base, the truths link together tightly and logically, forming the whole path of practice. The realities of suffering can be summarized as follows. First, life itself is suffering, because everything is impermanent. The truth of suffering includes 8 main forms of suffering that humans must bear to 1. Suffering from birth. 2. Suffering from aging. 3. Suffering from illness. 4. Suffering from death. 5. Suffering from having to live with or encounter those we dislike or even hate. Resentment and conflict. 6. Suffering from having to part with those we love or what we cherish. Separation and loss. 7. Suffering from not attaining what we desire. Unfulfilled wishes. 8. Suffering from the constant change and disturbance of the 5 aggregates, body and mind. 1 aggregate of physical form, the body. 4 aggregates of mind, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. Thirst for sufferings are physical. The next 3 are psychological. The last one applies to both body and mind. Second, the origin of suffering arises from craving and desire. This is the truth of the origin of suffering. It is explained through the doctrine of the 12 links of dependent arising, in which everything is interconnected. One thing becomes the cause and condition for another. Each link is the result of the previous one and becomes the cause of the next, forming a closed cycle within each person, including ignorance, formations, consciousness, name and form, the 6 sense bases, contact, feeling, craving, clinging, becoming, birth, aging, and death. Beings in the 6 realms, heavenly, human, animal, hungry ghost, asura, and hell, revolve in birth and death mainly because of attachment, especially attachment rooted in emotional desire. In a family, parents, siblings, spouses, children, relatives, friends, enemies, and strangers. Everyone meets and reconnects due to love, hate, attraction, aversion, and karmic ties from the past. A being is reborn into this world to repay or collect what was owed, or to settle unfinished accounts from past lives. Narrow, possessive emotional love and hatred have pushed us to send out feelings and expectations, demanding a return from others. This creates suffering, and then even more suffering. To love and be loved already contains suffering. To give love and not receive love in return is an even deeper suffering. Beings are reborn again and again to repay emotional and material debts from previous lives. Thus the wheel keeps turning. When we gain, we are happy. When we lose, we are sorrowful. This cycle of gain and loss easily generates resentment, leading to hatred and karmic entanglement that stretches across many lifetimes. This emotional attachment shows up clearly in the relationships between husband and wife, parents and children, siblings and relatives. The more intense the love and hate, the longer and heavier the cycle of karmic debt in the 6 realms of rebirth. Look at society throughout history. From kings and nobles down to ordinary villagers, conflicts, struggles, violence, and betrayal often arise not between strangers, but right inside families and clans. If parents are wealthy or powerful rulers, children may plot against one another for the throne or inheritance once the parents die. Spouses may harm or kill each other for money or to chase after a new lover because of ignorance. Beings get intoxicated with illusions of emotional love. They sow the seeds of love, hatred, and attachment, especially among their own family members. This sends them spinning again and again through the cycle of rebirth, meeting each other as lovers, enemies, parents, children, and so on. When they meet through love, they seem to have temporary peace, but intense love can easily turn into a possessive fear of loss, which in turn can become hatred if things change. A new karmic seed is then planted in ignorance, leading to future painful results. When they meet through hate, the emotional wounds are even deeper. Layers of resentful giving and taking repeat endlessly in the cycle of karmic debt. A Vietnamese saying goes, children are debts. Spouses are karmic partners, houses and property are karmic burdens. Truly, without the invisible ropes of emotional karma binding us, we might not meet each other in this stormy, fragile life. If romantic love were truly pure happiness, eternal and unchanging, the meaning of life, then we would see most people living in deep, lasting joy. But in reality, how many people on earth are truly happy in love? And how many are quietly enduring humiliation and pain because of it? Spouses meet because of karmic ties from many lifetimes' debts of love or hurt not yet repaid. They meet again to continue loving those they loved and hating those they hated. Parents and children meet to repay or collect emotional and material debts from past lives. Why are there children who are very filial, yet their parents pay little attention or affection to them? It is because the child owed the parents too much from the past and now must repay. On the other hand, some children are disrespectful, disobedient, or troubled, yet their parents sacrifice everything for them without regret. That may be because the parents owe those children and must now pay back. All the emotional interactions of love and hate in this world arise from the karmic seeds that beings have, collectively sown over many lifetimes. We cannot escape this cycle unless we resolutely cut through blind attachment. Emotional desire is an invisible rope that binds beings to countless lifetimes of wandering. Thanks to the light of the Stoic in place of the Buddha shining upon us, we can see the darkness of this emotional bondage and decide to cut it off. Daring to free ourselves from these chains. In life there is joy and there is sorrow. Many people say happiness is rare while suffering is abundant. The main cause of suffering is desire craving that has no limit. Like the bottomless ocean. People suffer because they crave endlessly, craving long life, craving immortality, craving to possess, craving pleasure, craving emotional satisfaction. People crave everything, even to the point of falling into sin and wrongdoing. Greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, doubt, and wrong views are the roots of human suffering. There are two kinds of wanting that everyone experiences: craving and simple wishing. Craving is the kind of wanting that insists, I must have it at all costs. If one doesn't get it, frustration, dissatisfaction, irritation, and resentment arise, pushing them to seize it by any means, even through harm and wrongdoing. The more craving, the more mental afflictions. When craving is satisfied, greed grows. When it is not satisfied, anger rises and one may seek revenge or harm others. Yet almost no one lives entirely without desire. To be alive is to want something. The difference lies in how much and in what way. Craving in the negative sense is selfish, grasping, and narrow. A person wants everything for themselves, even hoarding more than they need, preferring to let things rot rather than share with others. Wishing, on the other hand, is simply hoping or dreaming. If it happens, that's good. If it doesn't, one can accept it and move on without anger or bitterness. Craving demands at all costs. If unfulfilled, it leads to rage, resentment, and even violence. People may ignore morality, betray family, or even kill just to satisfy craving. In this life, we have the right to dream and to wish. But we should not let our craving grow so extreme that it causes suffering to ourselves and others. Craving endlessly leads to more greed, conflict, and hatred. When people are poor or lacking, they think they suffer because they have too little. They want more, and that feels natural. But when the wish is not fulfilled, they suffer. When they gain something and then lose it, the suffering is even deeper. All suffering in life mainly comes from unbridled desire. Our bodies and minds are constantly generating needs and demands: food, clothing, shelter, sleep, comfort, pleasure, entertainment, status, fame, positions, and power. Because life is like this, we cannot avoid having needs. As long as there is life, there will be wanting. The real question is, how do we desire in a way that is wise and balanced? Out of compassion, the Stoic teachings point out that the body and mind are not a permanent self. Understanding this, we can loosen our attachment and reduce suffering for ourselves and others. In reality, it is difficult for people to want less and know enough. Most people want more and more, never fully content. The more craving, the more wrongdoing, conflicts, and grudges arise. Ignorance leads to restless mental activity. That restless activity creates distorted perception. Distorted perception creates a sense of separation between self and others. That separation leads to contact and friction. Contact produces feelings. Feelings produce craving and clinging. From there, we cling to existence and develop fear of change and loss, which leads to emotional pain, sorrow, anxiety, and countless forms of suffering. Anger, in this context, is like a burning field of fire. When people feel dissatisfied, offended, or mistreated, anger rises. This can create conflict, violence, and harm. Anger has many levels: sarcasm, bitterness, harsh words, yelling, cursing, threats, intimidation, physical violence, and even attempts to destroy others. Sanhan anger and hatred describes fiery emotional states. San is hot rage that bursts out. Han is the smoldering grudge that burns silently inside. Anger and resentment, if not resolved, turn into deep hatred and the desire for revenge. Anger becomes a harmful habit that damages people, animals, and the environment around us. Whether mild or extreme, it always causes harm. These patterns cannot be erased instantly just by one moment of awakening. It depends on how deeply ingrained they are in each person. The Stoic teachings explain that this body is made of 4 elements: earth, water, wind, and fire combined together. There is no permanent, unchanging self in it. The idea of I and mine is an illusion. To cling to it is to fall into attachment and misunderstanding. Because of this illusion, people selfishly defend this impermanent body, even to the point of harming or killing others. Out of ignorance, they are willing to do anything to protect something that is ultimately fragile and temporary. If we pause and quietly observe, we will see that life is a continuous flow of change. Nothing stands still for even a moment. No position, no situation, no emotion stays fixed. When we chase after personal happiness, we inevitably bump into many other people who are also searching for happiness. Our excessive desire makes us blind, and we often end up wanting to enjoy comfort at the expense of others' pain. There is a saying, defeating 10,000 enemies on the battlefield is easier than defeating your own mind. To conquer ourselves is the greatest victory. Once we dare to face the truth that this body and mind are impermanent and unstable, we can loosen our attachment. We cling less, crave less, and thus reduce the suffering we impose on ourselves and others. When people recognize the root of suffering as ignorance and see that all things follow the principles of impermanence, non-self, and cause and effect, they can begin to train themselves. By practicing with an open, calm mind, they gradually rise above suffering and approach a state of inner stillness and freedom. Stoic philosophy, in place of Buddhist philosophy, here discusses dukkha, suffering, on many levels, but at its core, suffering arises from ignorance. To end suffering, one must end ignorance. And who can end this suffering? The answer is each person must do it for themselves. There is no way around this. We must equip ourselves with understanding of rebirth, cause and effect, impermanence, and non-self truths that the teachings of Stoic philosophy, drawn here from the original Buddhist insights, have laid out for us. When a person truly understands that all phenomena are governed by birth and death, cause and effect, impermanence, and non-self, they can face suffering with calm acceptance. They reduce craving, increase compassion, and lighten the burden of suffering in themselves and others. Yet the highest aim is not just to endure suffering, but to be liberated from it, to directly realize impermanence and non-self, and step beyond the pressures and manipulation of constantly changing conditions, to observe all things changing with a peaceful, free, and joyful heart. That is the true value that Stoic philosophy, in this adapted sense, can offer to human beings. Thank you for listening. May you receive much positive energy and live a peaceful life. Closing message, Stoicism Philosophy Daily. Stoicism Philosophy Daily. We bring ancient wisdom into everyday life. Our channel shares reflections on suffering, desire, attachment, and inner freedom, so you can understand yourself more deeply and live with calm, clarity, and strength. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, we explore how to let go of blind craving, face hardship with courage, and cultivate a peaceful mind in a changing world.